Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final day of the 2019 National Indoor Cricket League Final Series. I'm Cameron Walter, with me, Gary Lowe, and coming up now, the final round game in the women's division here. It is the Scorpions and the Hurricanes. Some interesting arithmetic here, Gary Lowe, could determine the final spot in the big grand final later today.
Yeah, it's very exciting, that's for sure. I saw you get in nice and early this morning, 4:30 on the whiteboard, moving the magnets around, working out exactly what was going on. And yeah, we might let you explain to the folks at home, because I'll probably muff it up if I try and do it.
Well, the Mavericks, they're in the box seat here. They, if they can come up with a win, well, that's enough. If they don't win this game, they need at least 2 skins out of it to put it beyond doubt. The Hurricanes are playing the Stars on the other court. At the same time, they need to win every skin in that to get ahead of the Mavericks if they do not win this and do not get 2 skins. Want to take us through the 2 lineups there, Gary?
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure to do so. The Mid-North Coast Mavericks, led by Ellen Hetherington, Joe Borgia, Janine McKenzie, Anika Leroyd, Georgie Martin, Chloe Johnson, Melissa Muse, and Kirsten Smith. For the Scorpions, captained by Alexandra Weeks, Shelley Savage, Charlotte Voss, Olivia Voss, Monique Brummer, Kat Jenkin, Blaine Gibbs and Stacey Rockcliffe.
The umpire for the match is Wayne Thomas from Queensland. Do stay with us throughout the day, not just this match coming up, but from 10 a.m. Eastern, the men's division semi-finals. 2 cracking games there to determine the grand finalists in the men's division. And from 12 p.m. the 2 grand finals, 12 p.m. the women and 2 p.m. the men. The Springwood Scorpions, who are batting first in this match, well, they've booked their place in that women's grand final. So they're guaranteed at least $5,000 prize money if they can. That's if they lose the grand final. If they win it, it's 10K, Lowy.
Yeah, they would have gone to bed and slept like a baby, I suppose. They've already booked their spot in the grand final. They can start preparing for that. And you're quite right, at the very, very least, $5,000 going to the Scorpions.
Here we go, the final round game in the Women's National Indoor Cricket League Final Series. It's the Mavericks up against the Scorpions. Here we go. What a start for Alex Weeks. Nice and easy for her, down and up on the offside of the bowling of Georgie Martin. Olivia Voss will face her first delivery now. Beaten outside off. Trying to play a similar shot, that ball a little bit fuller than the previous one. It's a nice drive. It's flat, but it was in enough of a gap. Gave her the time to get home.
Yeah, nice contact between bat and ball there. Sounded pretty good too, right out of the screws. Good timing. We'll see Alexandra Weeks on strike, and she's just a prodigious talent, this young lady. Again, nice down up 2. Good bit of fielding there, though, by Anika Leroyd. Moving well into the front court.
Edge there, chance. But Weeks is home. First sort of, well, that was a play and miss earlier, but that was the first sort of false shot with contact. Yeah, pretty tight, but Alex Weeks pretty quick between the wickets there. Final ball. Caught some of that back net there, so it is a singular finish, brings the first over to an end. Not a bad start for the Scorpions. 8 runs from it. Would be remiss of me, Lowy, not to wish you and all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day on this first day of spring.
Yes, very much so, and to you, of course, happy Father's Day. You've got your family here that's come up from Canberra. I certainly hope they're enjoying their time in the sunshine.
They are indeed.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate. My first Father's Day.
There you go.
Got some lovely presents this morning, and a big hello to my wife Gemma and my little boy Charlie.
Oh, the big shot and caught. She chanced her arm there, did Alex Weeks. Just didn't get enough loft on it. And into the safe hands at the back here. Take a look on the replay thanks to playcricket.com.au. She's probably there to hit. She just didn't get it as much as she would have liked. And, well, Borgia makes no mistake.
Yeah, perhaps a hint of a leading edge as it kind of wafted on down. And yeah, Joe Borgia, she's done it a few times this weekend. Very safe set of hands at the rear of the court.
Muse is the bowler. That's second delivery on the money.
Yeah, very watchful Olivia Voss there, and certainly deserved a great deal of care and attention. It was right on the money, that delivery.
It's flat, but again, through the gap, you always see batters focus on trying to hit down ups, but the reality is if you make good contact like that with a flat shot in the front court, it's past the fielder, into the net, and gives you time to get home. That one's full. Played straight back to the three-line fielder there in Georgie Martin. And another dot. It's been a good over here from Muse. Oh, confusion, a chance, and the Mavericks have done it. Smart cricket from them. Alex Weeks was keen for the run. Voss, not so. And here it is on the replay. Check this out, Loey.
Yeah, you'll watch Alexandra Weeks. She does look at her striker, and she's like, we're going. But you'll see that Voss just turned around and really had no interest whatsoever and caught pretty short there, Alexandra Weeks. And this has been a massive over here. Springwood down to 0, where they started at the beginning of the innings.
Yeah, one to come. And beaten. Sensational over from Melissa Muse. Just what the Mavericks need. This has been a great start for them, with the Scorpions failing to trouble the scorers after 2 overs. And how about those Mavericks, Lowe? We were talking about it during the broadcast yesterday. From all around the place in New South Wales, travelling anywhere between 2.5 and 6.5 hours to play. I think rarely, if ever, trained together. And here they are with a chance to make the final of the National Indoor Cricket League.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive story, and it'd be a wonderful narrative should they go through to win the coveted prize of champions. It's a real testament to the character of the ladies, and for them to be able to gel as a team so quickly as Chloe Johnson will get us underway for the third. 2 runs against. A slight hesitation. Alexandra Weeks going back to make a ground at the non-strikers end before having to take off. So you often see that when there's a run out or two. Players will be a little bit more hesitant and not as confident in themselves as they usually are, but I'm sure they'll find their groove again, these two. They're too good not to.
Wow. There's an example of that. A wonderful shot there from Weeks. Johnson just a little short and wide with that delivery. Threw the shot a bit early, and it's a dot. You have to remember, all the Mavericks need to do here is secure 2 skins, whether they win or lose. So far on top of this one, they'll be liking their chances to grab a point here.
There's a fair bit of room down there on Olivia Voss's legs as well. She takes guard right on the stumps. You quite often see in indoor cricket, they'll come back a little bit just so they've got a good understanding of where their leg side wide line is, but she's right in the middle of that pitch.
That's third ball there, and
well, the old hand grenade throw.
Yeah.
Good stuff by NICL Leroy, diving to her left, and as you can see on the screen, she did a bit of a practice watch here. She's on the floor, and there it goes. Pull the pin and throw it over the top.
I tell you what, Alex Weeks, fairly fortunate not to get pinged for third ball there. Not only did she stop, but took a step backwards.
Keen eyes.
Yeah.
I did catch that one.
Yeah, on third ball, once you've, as the non-striker, once you've left, you need to keep going. So take a look here. Whoops.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's so I don't know how I feel about it.
I'd give that out.
You would? You're a hard man.
Yeah. Look, I'm glad it wasn't given out. It's one of those rules that, come on. But, to me, she stopped cold. But then that step backwards is what seals the deal for me.
Well, look, I've seen third balls given out for a lot less.
Yeah.
And not right, can I say, doing so. But, Yeah, very well picked up. Gee, you're up and about this morning, Cameron Walter. 8:08 in the morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. And
haven't even had a Chico roll yet.
You're as sharp as a tack. Has that hit the turnout? I don't think it has. We'll wait for the score. Umpire Wayne Thomas, he says it's only 1. 10 the total, 4 deliveries remaining in the last over of this batting pair.
Yeah, 10 on the board. They've fought back well. Be interesting to see how high they can get this or whether the Mavericks can, well, do something like that. Well bowled from Janine McKenzie.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely cut her in two, this delivery. Watch this. Straight through everything, only just by the barest of margins missing those bails.
Yeah, very nearly took the top and middle.
Yeah.
If the string holding that bail on had been a little bit higher, it would have knocked it off. There's an opportunity there. It gets through. Again, another example of a flat shot hit with enough authority that it gets through that field, finds the net, and 2 runs. 2 to come. Oh, chance here. The flick cannot hit. Weeks again, very quick. That would have been tight. 1 to come. 14 on the board. And the Scorpion skipper blocks the last ball out. Was a very good fight back. 14 runs from the last 2 overs to get something reasonable on the board for the Scorpions, but you'd think it's fairly even at this point after 4 overs. The Mavericks and the Scorpions here, the final round of the Women's National Indoor Cricket League Final Series. Thanks for joining us right around Australia and the world. I'm Cameron Walter, and with me is Gary Lowe. A big day coming up, not just this game, which will help determine the 2 finalists. It could be these 2 once again in the Women's Grand Final later today at 12 p.m. But coming up at 10 a.m. Eastern, the men's semi-finals, I should say. 12 p.m. as I said, the Women's Grand Final, and 2 p.m. the Men's Grand Final to finish off the 2019 National Indoor Cricket League. Here we are, the second pair for the Scorpions. It's Savage and Charlotte Voss. Really well weighted there from Savage.
Yeah, she's had not only a brilliant National Indoor Cricket League season, but an absolutely sterling final series. She's arguably been a player of the final. There's a ball from the court next to us that's being played for the playoff for 5 and 6 in one of the men's divisions. Rolled all the way across and almost met us in the commentary box,
almost
mate.
Came in, yeah. I was just having a look going, wow, we're actually in the firing line here if that happens again.
That would have been something very special because we're an awful long way away from that game. And that's very close to bowling Voss around our legs. We'll watch the replay here just to see how close it was. Maybe 3 or 4 inches in it. Moving her feet around. I think she's hit that, has she? She has too, so no extra runs. And a 3rd ball. Well, that's a big play right there.
Yeah, that I think you'll find the bowler will go down and thank her for that one. It's turned that into a dot ball. And there's another one, but Savage gets down there, and with Voss getting something on it, all she had to do was kick it and get down the other end. No wicket falls. Final ball from Leroy. Savage, too good.
Yeah, she'd have to be going down. Not that there is a player of the final series. I'm sure there's probably a player of the match award that will be giving out later on this afternoon. But if there was a player of the final series, she'd have to be pretty close to getting it, you'd think. Gee, she's been so impressive this weekend.
Yeah, both these teams have been impressive. A lot of individual performances like that one that you refer to, but also just as a unit, both of them been playing some really good cricket. In the case of the Scorpions, well, they've not dropped a game. Can they maintain that? Borja starts with a no ball off pitch down the leg side, the left-handed Savage. And they have dropped a game, the Scorpions.
Yeah, that's right. That's that bit of an upset that we saw, which caught us a little bit by surprise. Springwood Scorpions 91, the Hoppers Hurricanes 108.
Correct. Last night. Yeah. Oh. Well, see, so what's happened there, folks, is she's hit that. She's edged it back into her head. It was then caught. Have a look here on the replay. Edged into her head and caught. So ordinarily that would be out.
Yeah.
But the umpire has signalled dead ball immediately and probably prior to the catch being taken. There's compulsory HIA now. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about the dead ball happening. There's nothing stopping Charlotte Voss getting the attention she needs if that play is completed.
Yeah. It's...
Tough one, though.
Look, I'm going to say what I feel. Here we go again, mate. I hate walking this tightrope, mate. I hate doing it. Look, I think that I'm absolutely on board that head injury assessments need to be done.
Yeah.
It's an important part of what's happening. We won't talk about some of the terrible things that can occur with cricket balls and heads and faces and all that kind of good gear. But we've almost gone too far in the other direction now with the players smiling, happy. There's nothing untoward going on there, and then the play's just immediately stopped. With that one there, I guess it would have been difficult for the umpire to be able to ascertain the severity or the seriousness of that injury from where he is. So, erring on the side of caution, but there was no real force in it. But the umpire's done the right thing in terms of the way the rules are at the moment, and being cautious is the aim of the game. So,
well, I mean, I guess the point I make is that had the call
been afterwards, it would have been out.
If you stopped, if you called dead ball half a second later, you could have allowed the ball to complete the wicket fall and had the exact same attention and the exact same time and given to the batter. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd happily take a blow to the head if it meant I didn't get caught.
Yeah.
So
keep bowling it at me bonds.
Yeah. But as it stands, these two have made their way to a fairly impressive 20 runs. There's been a couple of extras, the no balls that have, a couple of no balls off the pitch that have also been sent to the net. So that always helps. But 20 runs on the board, looking good, these two. Another wonderful shot from Shelley Savage. She's dominant there. If you give her any room, back of a length there, outside off stump.
We're just watching. We're just watching the game on the court next to us. Don't worry about that game. Let's worry about this game.
Yeah, indeed.
We'll talk about that in a moment.
She's found the edge and onto the stumps just as these two were starting to get away from them too. Here's the replay thanks to playcricket.com.au. Just didn't pick the turn, had to make the late adjustment, and well, the bails are off. They are flashing, and an important wicket for the Mavericks. Tucked around the corner, the down-up sweep shot for two. I think that's maybe the fifth, sixth, possibly seventh or eighth shot that Shelley Savage has just absolutely smashed in the springs over there on the offside. You just can't bowl there to her.
No, she puts it away every time. And hits it with a great deal of authority too. Very few gears with her. It's either 0 or 100 kilometres an hour, as that's a full toss, not put away. Would have been very easy just to bunt the bat at that one, hit it into the ground and get into the springs, but going for the bigger shot and brings on a third ball opportunity here for the Mavericks. Shelley Savage, 17 runs off her own bat and playing a very complimentary role is Charlotte Voss with 4. Sometimes it's a bit unfair. It's not very reflective of the 50-50 effort that goes into a batting partnership sometimes.
Well, as someone who routinely contributes single digits to 40-run partnerships.
You happy with that, mate?
Yeah. Yes, I'd gladly claim that as a 50-50 contribution.
And look, sometimes you get a run out put down on your name where you've been absolutely barbecued, and there's very little that you can do about it.
I always fix them up after the fact. Oh, dear, it's out. That was third ball. Shelley Savage has left it alone. She was certain it was going to be leg side. Let's take a look on the replay here, Gary.
Off from the naked eye, I've got to agree with it, to be fair.
Oh,
no, that's a great
fair
call.
Ball. Yeah, Wayne Thomas on the money. Savage can't believe it.
She's fooled me, Shelley Savage. She has absolutely pulled the ball over my eyes, but not the very razor-sharp umpiring of Wayne Thomas. Brilliant call.
And that because it was third ball and they didn't run, and, well, just get through for a single there after the fielding effort. Voss stopped and went back thinking it'd be a leg side, so that's automatically out.
Yeah, Shelley Savage, she should be a used car salesman because she had me, I was buying big.
Oh, a chance, it just falls in front of a diving Chloe Johnson. Took it on the half volley, which was a great effort, but then also rapidly get rid of the ball too. So if there had been a run on here, have a look at how quickly she gets rid of that. That's a great effort there in the front court. Chance again. Oh, it's through. Oh, what an effort that is from Joe Borgia down here in the back court. It just snuck past the three-line fielder, and Borgia kept it to 1. Two to come now. Final over of the pair. It's fallen straight. That one gets through the diving Joe Borgia this time, catches the side net, and 4 important runs for the Scorpions.
Yeah, well, it's really intriguing. The whole time I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, particularly with the first skin, is 14 enough? Is 22 enough? Because they need to pick up those 2 skins to the Mavericks. Because on the other court that's happening behind us, we've got Hoppers and Casey Stars.
We'll bring up the feed from that between batting pairs so you can check that one out. That one comes to an end. 23 on the board. A good partnership there from the Scorpions. But Lowy, you want to check in on that other game?
Yeah, they've done well to bring it up there in quick time. Has the team at Sportscast, and we can see that the Casey Stars have put together 2 very, very gettable skins for the Hoppers Hurricanes. You'd expect them to collect them pretty easily. There is a 1 in front of that 6 that you see on your screen there. That's a 16. And the other skin is it's now just dropped down to -2. So you'd expect them to be collected. So we're going to assume that's going to be a 7-zip game. So it's 2 skins that the Mavericks need to pick up. And I keep saying, running it in my mind, is 14 enough? Ooh, perhaps. Is 23 enough? That's going to be borderline. So, yeah, this is mega intriguing stuff.
Indeed, the Women's National Indoor Cricket League final series of 2019 continues. If you've just joined us, I'm Cameron Walter with Gary Lowe. This is the Mavericks up against the Scorpions. And looks like we've got a short delay here. Wayne Thomas doesn't look that interested in beginning anything. Looks like we have a player off the court. Just trying to work out who it is, but maybe getting some strapping or something down underneath this mezzanine level that we're on. Yeah, I think it's Joe Borgia, yeah, taking a bit of skin off with the dive, getting something to cover that up, and we'll take this opportunity to thank our broadcast partner, Sportscast Australia, who are doing a fantastic job here, bringing you these live pictures from Action Indoor Sports Toombul. Also, of course, our official ball supplier in Burleigh Seacombe, who provide the gold standard in indoor cricket ball. Our thanks to them for their continued support of elite indoor cricket. And looks like everything's in order now to get back underway. Stacey Rockcliffe and Monique Brummer are the next batting pair for the Scorpions. They start with a single. It's a risky one. He wasn't quite sure which direction to go in. Full and driven and just popped out of the hands there of Leroy on the 3 line. Well, that is a no ball. It was over the waist.
Yeah, good bit of fielding there by Mackenzie, running forward and slapping it with the right hand. It would have been desperately close to being a run out. I think it may very well have caught Brummer short, but it's all academic because the Bales remain firmly on top of the playcricket.com.au stumps.
A chance. Oh, that's another great piece of fielding there from Chloe Johnson. She's been red hot there in the front court.
My words, precisely. She has been a real solid athlete there in the front court. Look at that. Off balance, throwing it kind of almost in between the legs. And, she's been one of my favourite players this weekend in terms of her fielding. She's been brilliant.
Made her New South Wales Opens debut this year as Rockcliffe sends one to the back net for 7. What a big shot that is to finish the over. Huge over for the Scorpions. 16 runs from it, largely courtesy of that 7, but also the no ball hit for 2 as well. 11 runs off 2 deliveries, and that's a huge start for the Scorpions.
Yeah, that is a massive start. I'm just looking at the 2 batters out on court at the moment, and they look pretty happy with themselves.
And wouldn't you be?
Oh, you'd be over the moon. Setting the Scorpions up for victory here. Kirsten Smith, she's tasked with trying to take a few runs off this Springwood side. This could be a very big batting partnership here. Wickets needed desperately. Again, it's NICL Leroy doing the correction. Chloe Johnson doing the fielding. She's like a magnet to that ball. It very often finds her hands in that front court.
Down up sweep shot for 2. Comes with an element of risk, that shot, when playing across the line of the delivery, but if you get it right, safe runs.
Yeah, I quite often see that shot being played. I don't mind it. You just need to, obviously, the timing comes into it a lot more. But if it's short like that, even if it's quite far outside off stump, it's a pretty easy shot just to kind of paddle it across your body. But with that cross bat, that diagonal angle that's coming down, that timing is absolutely everything. You've got to get it right. And a good example there of what happens if you're not quite on the timing.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's 3 balls in a row. That shot's been played. This length, it's got to change. You've got to get fuller if they're just going to continue to play that shot. This time on the offside from Rockcliffe. They are looking rock solid. 1 ball to come. 10th over. 25 on the board already. This is turning into quite the partnership for the Scorpions. Juggled but kept off the net by Mackenzie. Runs into Leroy, giving her some backup there, but it is a single. 26 runs after 2 overs.
As we are, like a giraffe on ice, kind of arms and legs everywhere. It didn't look overly aesthetically pleasing, but it got the outcome, mate. It kept the ball off the net. That's the most important thing.
Be interesting to see how the Mavericks respond to this. They've brought Leroy on. Their skipper Ellen Hetherington will know what they need to do to win this. Maybe they'll obviously want to win the game, but will they concede that this skin? Oh, look at that! A bouncing foot. I'm gonna love to see the replay of this one.
Yeah, I reckon the stumps were taken early.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Here's the delivery. Oh, yeah, I think you're right. And just the wrong timing.
The umpire is in the absolute number 1 best position for those calls.
It's up and, gee, the good old up-down. Straight out of the Cameron Walter playbook. Falls safe.
Yeah, and that one had plenty of time too. Sometimes you see those up-downs that are like a pinball machine, bouncing around everywhere, but that just floating, and unable to get there. Using the feet is Stacey Rockcliffe again. She's a back net bandit this morning.
Yeah, smashed that, absolutely crunched it into the backcourt for 4. That previous delivery is an example of that down-up sweep shot not going right either. That timing. But it's a bit of a stock shot for Brummer, isn't it?
Yeah, and that should be something that the Mavericks could possibly be picking up on. If that's a shot that she loves to play and she's pretty convincing at it, why not bowl in areas that make her play strokes that aren't in her wheelhouse? And this time trying to go large is Stacey Rockcliffe, but missing it.
Yeah, you called her the back net bandit. She wanted another piece of that one, but
she did indeed.
Too good this time. The Mavericks beats the bat, and Ellen Hetherington, simple job for her. Had all the time in the world to affect that stumping, and a very important wicket there for the Mavericks. The Scorpions in this pair really were in charge, and that wicket has just pegged them back. But still 29 with 7 balls remaining in the pair. Beaten again this time. That's a good fight back there from Leroyd after copping a bit of tap. And 66 on the board, 29 for the partnership. A very important over here, Lowy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who they decide to bowl. Obviously, last over the batting pair, or no balls and wides can be re-bowled at the batter's request. So you want someone who's going to have a bit of discipline. And much to your point earlier on, it's Janine McKenzie, so you're going to expect her to be on the money. She's going to have this on a string. So it's interesting, at 29, is this skin too hard to chase? Do you want to throw all your eggs in the final 4 overs? But they've decided, the Mavericks, that they're going to try and take some wickets here. So they're going for the win.
Well, it's 3rd ball now. We've seen the Mavericks take one of these already. Here's another opportunity. Just too good from Brummer. Just took a time, didn't try and overhit that, used the offside net, 2 runs. Well kept off the net there. It is a single. Oh, beaten again. You see Brummer trying to play that across the line shot. And if you get the length right, that's what happens. So that fuller delivery there from McKenzie just exposes that little weakness there. And it's a dot ball, 2 to come. And again.
And that's what they needed to do. We talked about it. And if you see every problem is a nail, every solution is a hammer. And that's exactly what Brummer's been doing, playing across the line and playing that sweep shot. And we discussed it, put them in areas that make it awkward to play that shot. And they've done it twice. And this time on the second occasion, they've got through. They've collected it.
And this has been a huge fight back here from the Mavericks. At one point, it looked like this pair was on track for 50.
Yeah,
big time. Kept them back down to 27 with 1 ball to come. And there it is again. That's brilliant bowling from McKenzie. She's read that situation perfectly. You said prior to the over she'd put the ball on the string. She did just that for the last 3 balls. What a fight back from the Mavericks. 27 for the pair, and it's game on here. 64 on the board. The Scorpions and the Mavericks, the final round game for the Women's National Indoor Cricket League final series. Thanks for watching. It's proving to be a cracking contest between the top 2 sides so far in the competition. Everything on the line here for the Mavericks. The Scorpions are already through to the final. The Mavericks need to either win this game or win 2 skins. And just looking at the Springwood scorecard at the moment, Lowy, 14, 23, 27. You would think that the 23 and in particular the 27 are skins that the Scorpions would feel pretty comfortable about defending. That 14's in danger. So this pair is going to be crucial for the Mavericks.
Yeah, and they just sent a message, well, in my opinion at least, the Mavericks sent a message out having McKenzie bowl that last over, and I made mention of it during it, that they're going for the win. You know, they're not coming into this going, oh, let's just try and collect the 2 skins and make sure we go through. They are absolutely dead set in amongst it. Is some replay. We've just thank you to our sportscast friends. They've brought it to our mention.
Melissa Muse has just
Has
knocked over a player. Get out of the way.
Oh, that's brilliant. That has to make the highlights reel, mate. That has to. And the boys over on that court there at the Wacker, they love it. He's going to cop grief for that for the rest of his life. Because Melissa Muse, there's not much to her. She's only a slender young lady. And I'm not sure who the player was, but he's gone spiralling. Out of control. Here it is again, I hope.
Excuse me. Excellent, excellent. Back to the cricket, and 70 on the board. Lowy loves it.
Oh, that is so good. That is so good.
Have a chat to the my good friend Luke Williams at Cricket Australia to make sure that does get on the highlight reel.
Oh, it has to, mate, honestly. And your little chiming of, excuse me, that's a that needs to be there too.
6 runs from the over, fairly even start. The point, Lower, you were making a good one. The Mavericks are indeed going for the win. So I'm sitting here talking about those skins and which ones they might want to target, but the reality is the way that they've bowled and fielded at this point, the Scorpions are on 70, but this is all chaseable. This is all in the realm of the runs that the Mavericks can chase down. So they will be feeling like it's something that they can win. Bit of table service, Lowy. What's going on there? Just had some chips to deliver to the commentary box.
I don't often have little snacks while in the middle of a broadcast, but I smelt the chips here at Action Indoor Sports Toombul as I came in, and they were to die for.
Oh, it's edged just outside of the reach of Hetherington. It would have been straight down the throat at first slip. Here's the delivery. Oh, just outside of the reach of the Mavericks skipper. Would have been a handy wicket. So Blaine Gibbs and Kat Jenkins, the two batters. Beaten outside off. A chance at the top. Jenkins back. So quite important in last partnership here for the Scorpions. We're saying that so far the runs on the board are definitely within the sphere of what the Mavericks would consider chaseable. So this pair, well, you'd think they'd probably need 20 plus. Get it up to something, well, certainly above 80. If they can get 25 and get to 90 something or 100, that's far better for the Scorpions and not so for the Mavericks and their chances of a grand final appearance.
Yeah, look, I think that the Scorpions can defend 90. So if they can get there, which is relatively achievable with the 2 overs remaining, they only need an additional 15. These two players out on court, it's certainly their strength to be able to score runs. Fair bit of risk associated with that last shot by Jenkins, but getting away with it. But, you know, they're very, very good batters, Kat Jenkins and Blaine Gibbs. So you'd expect to see them do well, particularly Gibbs. She's a very talented cricketer, but the one thing in particular that she's strong at is her batting.
So 2 overs remain in the first innings. It's been some quality cricket between these two sides. Both at times have been on top of the other. It's a tight contest. Pushed down leg side from Joe Borgia. Runs at that one, gets to the pitch of the ball. Looks like we've had another collision here. The 2 games, one or the other. Janine McKenzie at the back colliding with this one slightly less amusing than the first instance.
No, the first one was very funny. This one's not very funny in the slightest. It's a difficult angle because it's right in the far corner of the court. Yeah, this should show it, and they've both gone at the same time.
Oh, no. Ow.
Well, that is definitely going to be some kind of a HIA.
Well, you can see the medic out there now. Janine McKenzie, she's a tough customer. They all, there's a bit of laughing happening. I'm just standing out, poking my head out of the commentary box. She seems okay. She's on her feet, as you can see there on your screen, and she'll just take a moment to collect herself. And it's just one of those things, the risk you run at these centres where the courts are right next to one another and they share a barrier. The odds of it happening are very slim, but when it does, gee, it doesn't look fun. So I think she's just drawn a little bit of blood, looks to me, on her thumb. So she'll get that patched up, but she seems okay, and play will continue.
And who would have thought that would happen twice in one game? Like
Yeah.
that never ever happens.
Well, I'm not sure what the call was either. So that was runs, obviously, I think. And yeah, ouch.
Mate, that's a State of Origin special. That's a Queensland, New South Wales opening tackle stuff. That's a real heavy hit. It's kind of hip and shoulder.
Could have picked a smaller bloke to run
I know
into.
too, right?
I imagine that this will be re-bowled.
Yeah, it will be.
So,
yep,
yeah.
for sure.
I mean, unlike that other example that I was talking about earlier, where you could argue that the play was completed and nothing would have changed.
Yeah.
That play certainly not completed. The ball's still live. Janine McKenzie in the process of actually fielding the ball, so they'd have to have it re-bowled. Gee, we might be coming up on 2 minutes here, Lowy.
Well, it'd be interesting to see, because my understanding is if it's a HIA or a head injury assessment that the 2 minutes, I could be wrong, but I think the 2 minutes is kind of waived. So
at what point does it cease being HIA and become something else?
This is what I ask.
Yeah.
That I'm a little bit fuzzy on. So there's obviously some blood there, but a blood rule is a blood rule. It's 2 minutes. I mean, I should really get clarification on the HIA, and I will. My understanding is a very red hot chance that I'm incorrect on this, but yeah, I think that if it is contact with the head, obviously they need to go through their processes and do the head injury assessment. So
okay, I'll make it more complicated for you. That the HIA bit was done in about 10 seconds, a little while ago, and the rest of this has been the tournament medic patching up the blood. So yeah,
really,
tick-tock, tick-tock.
For sure.
But look, ultimately, irrespective of what the time's been spent on, we're just glad that Janine McKenzie is all right.
Yeah, that could have ended in much different fashion.
We might check in with the game happening on the other court while we have this delay, just to see whether or not the Hurricanes are doing what they need to do against the Stars, and certainly looks that way. So 16 for the first pair, -2, 13 and 3 for the final. So Hurricanes need to win that 7-zip, and with their batting lineup, you'd think that there won't be too much trouble there up against the Casey Stars. So
yeah, well, that's money in the bank as far as I'm concerned.
So we'll keep you up to date there to see whether or not the Hurricanes do in fact get all of those points. And of course, what it means over here is that the Mavericks need to claim at least 2 skins or get the win. Now, 10 balls remain in the innings, I should say. 81 runs on the board for the Scorpions. It's going to be quite a tight match here. Important little period in these last 10 balls.
Yeah, I'm super keen to get stuck into I know we've still got 10 deliveries to go in this innings, but I'm absolutely fascinated with what's going to come up in this second innings. I can't wait for it to start. Obviously, there's a lot to take place here. 17. Who knows where that's going to go? I've got a feeling it's going to go north of 30, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Certainly plenty of time left for that to happen. It's a little French cricket paddle around the corner.
That is a very soft little paddle. The old French cricket, you're bringing back memories for me. I haven't played that for donkeys.
Year 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Gilmore Primary School down there in the ACT, the old plastic cricket bat.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And you'd have the set play, you'd have the person behind the play, and you'd throw it to them and then quickly throw and get their legs.
That's right, yep. That'll be a no ball off the pitch. Caught, but unfortunately for Muse, she hasn't realised that it was no ball, so just held onto it.
She was loving what she did, and the rest of her team were desperately urging her to throw it.
And look, I've got to tell you, it's a good, sharp little catch, and they're pumped. Yay, but sorry.
No take it away. Boo, party pooper.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And look, you can't blame them. You've taken the catch, you're going to celebrate, but probably had an opportunity there for the run out as well if they'd responded quickly enough. But as it stands, it was runs. And they've made their way to 90. 6 balls remain. Can they get to 3 figures, Lowy? Driven straight. Will be a dot. The Mavericks skipper Hetherington is bowling the last over. Tough to get her away for runs. Well, could have gone either end. Shaped up to throw to the top. Ended up flicking to the keeper. Hits, but it's a dot. But it's 3rd ball, critically, for the Mavericks. Huge moment now for the Mavericks. Can they convert this? Gibbs on strike. It's driven straight. Flick from Muse. And I think Borja had moved into position to field the ball off the shot itself, and therefore wasn't at the stumps for the flick from Muse. So the Scorpions get away with that and post a single.
Yeah, they've gotten away with that big time as that's gone for 5 runs, 96 the total. They've cleared the 30 that we thought we would, and Cameron Walter was suggesting that perhaps 100 could be on the cards, and it certainly is.
2 to come. Oh, it's a chance at the top. The throw, a direct hit. Huge wicket for the Mavericks. Just undoes that back net shot from the ball before. And Leroy took her time there to check this positioning out, Lowy. Here's the replay. Perfect.
That is pretty good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Slightly open feet position, but the throw, middle stick, stumps are down. 1 to come. Advances again, and Kat Jenkins. Well, what a finish that is. It's Borja at the back who's taking a screamer.
Oh, she has.
How about that? It's a little bit of a delayed reaction from us, given we're unsighted there, so relied on that great vision from Sportscast Australia there to show us that catch. But what a big turnaround off the last couple of balls of that over, Lowy.
I've just looked at that replay again, mate. That's crazy stuff. Yeah. And again, 2 hands. She's done it so consistently, getting 2 hands to the ball. She makes a big habit of doing it. And Cameron Walter, you're dead right. Last 2 deliveries, 2 wickets, -10, 86 the total. That really does give the Mid-North Coast Mavericks a bit of a sniff here. I think that 96 could have been a bridge too far. 86 though, wow.
Game on, sunshine.
Absolutely. And let's have a bit of an evaluation here of the skins. 14, extraordinarily gettable. The rest of them, 23, 27, 22. Mate, give me a coin, flick it in the sky, and let's see. It's right down the middle to see whether they're going to get it or not. It is really up in the air. I tell you what, if they don't collect the 14, there's going to be an awful lot of pressure for those remaining 3 skins, that's for sure.
Yeah, so an exciting run chase to come, ladies and gentlemen. 86 runs on the board for the Scorpions. For the Mavericks, they need 2 of those skins or 87 at least. It is the round 6, the final round game of the Women's National Indoor Cricket League Final Series. We're coming to you live from Action Indoor Sports, Toombul. Just the first of 4 games coming to you this morning and this afternoon. Coming up from 10 a.m. Eastern, it is the men's semi-finals. The 2 winners of those matches straight into the grand final later today. From 12 p.m, the women's grand final. Now, the Scorpions have already booked their place in that match, and it's between the Mavericks and the Hurricanes for the last spot. And then 2 p.m, the final game of the year. It is the men's grand final. That's from 2 p.m. Eastern. Do stay with us throughout the day. We hope you are enjoying our coverage. If you have just joined us, I'm Cameron Walter and I'm with Gary Lowe. This game, the Mavericks and the Scorpions. An exciting run chase coming up. Stay with us. If you're a betting man, Gary Lowe.
Oh, which I am.
Yeah. Who would your money be on? Forget that two-skin equation for the moment. Who would your money be on for the win?
My money would be on Springwood for the win, but I know the odds would be bigger for the Mavericks, so I'll be plonking it on them because I want to get a better return on investment. But look, it would be with the Scorpions, but you know, there wouldn't be much in it. We're kind of talking $1.86 and $2.10 type stuff.
Yeah, look, I've no idea who can win the game, but I'm backing the Mavericks to get 2 of the skins, especially with Hetherington and Kirsten Smith out opening. They're chasing this 14. Stacey Rockcliffe starts well. That's a dot ball, but yeah, I think these two have got 15 in it.
Oh, it should be shelling peanuts for these two, honestly. It should be very, very simple for them, but you know, if a couple of wickets begin to tumble, then the equation gets a little bit trickier. So yeah, can't wait for this second innings.
Oh, just squeeze through the fielders there for 2. Tell you what else, Loey. The way that Jenkins in particular in that last over batted, she attacked that back net off that last ball as well. That says to me that the Scorpions probably don't feel like they've got enough.
Yeah, fair comment.
They were sitting on 90-something with, 96 with 2 to go, or 3 to go, whatever it was, and they didn't think that was enough, so they wanted max value. It didn't come off for them. So they fear this batting lineup from the Mavericks. Fear is probably not the right word, but you know what I'm trying to
warily cautious.
Yes.
I'm happy with fear too, mate.
Beaten. I think for me, just another example of bat trying to play that down up when you could play the full-blooded flat shot and get through for runs. Good contact this time, finds the net and 2. Brings the over to an end. A good start there for the Mavericks. 8 runs in pursuit of this first skin of 14. I wonder to what extent the Hurricanes are keeping an eye on this game. They're at the other end of the centre, but I imagine they're wandering over every now and then.
I've got no doubt they've got a couple of secret spies over here eyeballing this game.
Maybe a couple of gifts on offer to the Scorpions if they can win at least 3 of these skins and the match.
Yeah, well, realistically, if the Scorpions do that, they're gifting $5,000 to Hoppers. So,
chance.
Oh, Brummer, I tell you what, that was a good bit of play to get down low and get a hand to it, but just getting the paddle back to the wicketkeeper wrong. Sharp play. Watch the replay. Gets down nice and low, but and you can see not even in the frame is the Mavericks.
Pushes one down. Leg side does Olivia Voss. Oh, did she get some glove on that?
Oh, I would hazard a guess as yes, indeed.
So it falls safely and they just scamper through for a run. Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. A whole bunch of glove. And a second chance there for Rockcliffe. She can't hit. Driven, it's flat. And catches the back net on the way through for 4 runs. Huge runs for the Mavericks. Forget the 14, a huge start here. Well, puts them in a great position to chase down the 87 they require. And another leg side. Easy runs for the Mid-North Coast Mavericks. That's a great shot from Smith. Full contact and into the Springs for 2. 21 on the board after 2. This is the perfect start for the Mavericks. Can the Scorpions respond?
And you know, you're quite right that although we're focusing on the 2 skins as well, there's still a game going on here that you can actually win it. And I think that when they bowled Janine McKenzie, the Mavericks, in the
third pair,
at the last over of that one, the 12th. I said it during the call, and I'll say it again now because I thought it's quite important that for me was the signal that they're going for the W. 2 skins, it's great, but they want to win this, and you know, you can win with 1 skin. Who cares? If you get that win, that's all they need.
And for our viewers at home that might be following the ladder at nicl.com.au and maybe wondering why the Mavericks need 2 skins if they lose the game. If they only get 1, they'll very likely end up on the same amount of points as the Hurricanes. And the first piece of criteria that separates them in that circumstance is who has the most wins. And it will be the Hurricanes if they win the game they're playing right now. So that's why they will need at least 2 skins or the win. And that's up in the air and taken. First wicket falls. You see it so often in indoor cricket. One team starts to get the ascendancy and then something happens to change it. It's a fairly soft wicket, really, but great delivery it was from the Scorpions skipper, right on the money. And Hetherington, in efforts to paddle it around, paddle it up into the air, and a great catch from Brummer. That one, she gets right, Hetherington, 2 runs.
And although there's no opportunity to affect the run out, just very impressed with Monique Brummer's ability to catch that ball off the net. Then that came down pretty fast and a pretty awkward angle, and she stuck out the left mitt and got it. So she's pretty keen this morning, is Brummer. That's fielded slightly there by Jenkin, and only the 1 run.
Final ball of the 3rd over. And leg side. Lets off a little of the pressure. 22 on the board, 1 to come. You'd think they're going to bank this point, the Mavericks there. That's 1 step in the right direction for them as far as the grand final appearance is concerned.
Yeah, well, the Scorpions need to take at least 2 wickets, don't they, in the final over. So who are they going to bowl? It's going to be Shelley Savage. So, again, I was curious to know what the play would be for the Scorpions here, if they'd play their normal game and go out for the all-attack, or they'd be mindful of the skin situation. Again, bowling Shelley Savage says to me that they want to win the skin. They're going for it. So I'm sure that the teams are acutely aware of the maths required, but both of them are just going for the throat, going for the wins.
Oh, how about that? Into the backcourt for 4. Huge runs for Kirsten Smith off the bowling of Savage. Skin now more or less beyond doubt, and this is just all about setting them up for that win. Quality from Hetherington. There's a big shout for fielding from Weeks, but the Mavericks skipper is safe. She was tighter than I thought. Direct hit would have been interesting. Dot ball. Fairly easy too for Smith, just too classy. And they get to 30. It's been a great opening partnership so far, just the loss of 1 wicket. 2 balls remain. Oh, it almost snuck through Lowy.
Yeah, it was just spinning on the ground there and going towards the stumps. We see the bottom edge on the replay here. Comes off a couple of legs, a foot.
And final ball not too dissimilar. Into the corner though, and a dot. So 30 runs on the board. That's a fantastic opening partnership from the Mavericks skipper and her partner Smith. They've banked one of the points that they need. If they can win one of the remaining 3 skins, well, it doesn't really matter what the result of the game is. They will book their place in the grand final. but they will, of course, go their hardest at the win as we see Joe Borgia and Georgie Martin take the court now. Their job to get, if not 24 and win the skin, then at least keep them on a winning trajectory here in the final round match for the Women's National Indoor Cricket League. Thanks for your company right around Australia and the world. I'm Cameron Walter with Gary Lowe. How about that opening partnership?
Yeah, pretty special, wasn't it? 30, setting the team up for victory indeed. And the Mavericks have sent out 2 of their strongest batting partnerships first. Joe Borgia, a part of the New South Wales women's side, as is her batting partner. So, they're going for it. Georgie Martin, no slouch. And I think that 23 is looking shaky. You'd expect these 2 to get it as well. So if they don't, it's going to make the next 2 skins really tight because, as I said, the first 2 batting partnerships come out are extraordinarily strong.
Well, I can't afford to be bowling any of these. I've given them a few of them already, the Scorpions. To stay tighter, this is Brummer, the bowler. And another one.
And wickets is becoming somewhat of an issue. We haven't seen too many opportunities for the Scorpions here. And other than that, there's just the 1 wicket, I think, in the first 4 overs. And outside of that, they did it pretty easy. And I know it's extremely early in the infancy of this batting partnership, but again, they've rocketed along to 9 off 5 deliveries. No real opportunities being presented, so not many wickets being taken thus far, at least.
I was about to say that's the over, but the umpire took some time in signalling it. But there it is, 9 runs on the board after 1 for this pair, well on their way. Won't it be a bit of a turn-up, Lowy, if the Mavericks do indeed win this game? The Scorpions, up until the last game last night, undefeated. Dropped that game to the Hurricanes, who, if things continue, they won't even feature in the final. And then they dropped this. They've dropped the last 2 games. Usually like to take a bit of momentum into a final. Not a couple of losses.
Oh, no one appealed, Cam, for that LB.
I'd be going up.
But yeah, you're right. You're dead right. It's not the momentum you want. It's momentum going in the other direction. In a negative fashion, 3rd ball around the corner, 1 scored. Score moves to an even 40 for the Mavericks. And yeah, it would be an awkward little position for the Scorpions should they make the final and having lost the last 2 on the trot.
Just not getting the bowling right at the moment. As you pointed out earlier, just the 1 wicket. Haven't seen a lot of opportunities, so...
Oh, it's been a desolate wasteland out there, mate, to be honest with you.
Oh, there's one. That is quite a grab from Alex Weeks. Had to juggle it in the end, but the effort to get hand on ball, the first instance, is what made it impressive. Here it is on the replay. You can just see the juggling there. Great work from the Scorpion skipper, and just as we were talking about no opportunities, they create one and they convert it.
Yeah, in the middle of the desert, there was the Oasis, mate, just sitting there. Oh, my word, Joe Borgia, make sure you run. Keeping her honest, making her run all the way through to the non-strikers end. And that's good from Alexandra Weeks with that catch, because the first available opportunity for a wicket, and it was, maybe only a 20% chance that the wicket was going to be affected, she took it, which is great stuff from the captain, leading by example.
But then again, a couple of wides to follow up.
I know.
It's just, yeah.
Really, it's a bit of a cardinal sin, isn't it, after you take a wicket to be doing those kind of shenanigans.
I know the coach of the side, Bruce Harold, won't be too pleased about extras after wickets.
No, he's a very hard taskmaster, that's for sure. So I put my teeth back in.
Chance at the keeper's end. There's 2 at one end. Surely it is. Well, shenanigans here It was on, it wasn't on, and 2 at one end. There was always going to be a run out here. Credit to Brummer. Not only did she get that throw on the money, she did it really quick. That was a good turn and throw straight to Gibbs at the top, and an easy wicket for the Scorpions. And turned on a dime, Lowy.
It does. It certainly does. 5 now. The equation's becoming difficult. We talked about it. You'd think that they should get 23. Their exact wording, once a couple of wickets happen, the equation becomes more tricky, more complex indeed. And at the moment, it is that the 23 that they needed is now shifted to a 33 that they need off their own bat. One more wicket makes it difficult. Oh, Shelley Savage, I thought she was going to get to it. I think that even herself thinks that maybe she should have dived forward for it. It's tricky. It's an awkward spot for her. We'll see if she could have got there. I'm not so sure she could have. Well,
look, I tell you what's happened. There's a couple of things that have happened there, and you would have seen it on the replay. She moved in straighter, closer to the pitch as that ball was being bowled to get in behind the batter. We see that a lot.
Yep.
And then as the shot was played, she took a step backwards, and that took her, further away from the ball and made that catch impossible. As we see another one go down, that would have been a screamer if she took that. Very firmly hit, but that's why the three-line fielders always need to be going towards the front court.
Yeah, it's very hard when all your momentum's going back on your heels to be able to prop and then go forward towards the indoor cricket ball. But chances beginning to present themselves here for the Springwood Scorpions. And
I tell you what, Lowy, this is going to be a big last over here. You called earlier that this skin is the one, if they're not going to win the game, this is the one they've got to bank. They need 14 runs to do it.
I don't like their chances. Yeah. From what we've seen, I don't think they've got 14 in them. And then the thing is with pressure, well, I'll tell you what, Blaine Gibbs, this is an interesting selection here because from all the bowlers, this is one of the bowlers that the Mavericks side could really take a bit of a fancy to. When she gets it right, it's great, but she's got a very loopy type delivery, does Gibbs. So it's either going to be rocks or diamonds. She's going to take a couple of wickets, or Joe Borger's going to take a real liking to her, and that 14 could be right on the cards.
Well, here she is, Gibbs to Borger. It's off the net, just a single.
Just talking about prior to the Blaine Gibbs selection for the 8th over, pressure's a funny thing, and when pressure's on and you know that you need to score a certain amount of runs to get into the final, gee, I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be coming in, particularly in that last batting partnership, only chasing 22.
Chance at the top, the throw. Oh, a direct hit would have been very interesting, but as it stands, it's 2 runs. They move to 13, 4 to come. Oh, would have been out, I think. Oh, sent into the backcourt for 5. Huge runs for Borger. And doesn't that make it interesting, Lowy? They move to 18 now.
Yeah, it does. And I knew it was going to be rocks or diamonds, and it comes up diamonds. Well, this could be telling. 5 to tie it up even, and then jackpot it to the 3rd batting partnership, which would be unbelievable.
Shot for 2. Martin playing her role. So 2 balls remain, 4 runs required for the skin. Oh, how about 7 of them? Borger does the job and puts the Mavericks, you would think, into the grand final. All they need to do is see this ball out, and they've banked the 2 points that they need.
And that is a dagger into the heart of the Hoppers Hurricanes. That 7 there spells it short of a wicket here, and no, there won't be. Cameron Walter, my goodness.
Well, Joe Borger, a 5 and a 7 in the last over to put them into the grand final. They've done enough. And I guess for the rest of this match now, these 2 sides who are going to play each other again in just a few hours' time in the Women's National Indoor Cricket League Grand Final. It's a bit of discovery on one another now. So for the Mavericks, it's about taking some momentum into that game.
Yeah, it is. And again, interesting selection with the Blaine Gibbs in that final over there. And as I said, I guess it's the same with the spin bowler. You know, they're looping it up there and throwing it down. If you get to it, you can start carting them, but you live by the sword, you die by the sword. On many occasions, you come down and you try to take advantage, and you get out a whole bunch. And as I said, it's a real feast or famine type thing, and feast it was for the Mavericks. A real sizzler smorgasbord.
So it's Muse and Johnson batting third for the Mavericks. 57 on the board in pursuit of the Springwood Scorpions, 86. So
And isn't that in massive jeopardy now?
yeah, definitely. Well, 30 runs between two pairs would be enough. So, I mean, I can only reiterate that given they will play each other again in that final, it's now for the Mavericks. If they can win this game and win it convincingly, that sends a message to the Scorpions.
Big time. And then who goes on to win the final? Oh, we'll see this catch. It'll be a brilliant replay because if moved well, I think it's Blaine Gibbs who's moved across to get that one. Again, we're a little bit unsighted here in the commentary box. Just wait for the images from our broadcast partners, Sportscast. And it is a nice, comfortable catch, moving well to our left. But it sends a very strong message to the Scorpions. And I don't know who'd be going in as favourites. You know, you've got a team that perhaps on paper would be perceived as stronger. But you look at the form guide, and it's the old racehorse that's come stone cold motherless last in the last two jumps.
I'll tell you the other thing, a loss, and let's certainly not write off the Scorpions. They may indeed end up winning this game, but if they do lose, I wonder if that, for the skipper, Alex Weeks, and the coach, Bruce Arroll, if that makes them start thinking, gee, if we got our front eight right, do we need to make some changes to this lineup, or the combinations, the batting pairs where people are fielding, any of that, what do we need to tweak? Or do they just say, well, you know, it didn't click today, but we back our plans to come good?
Yeah, but it didn't click yesterday either. You know, and I really agree with your point that those two games coming in and having the losses with it, I think that adds to the seriousness of the situation. The players they've got on court are, I think, who Coach Arroll deems to be their strongest eight. We've seen it generally throughout the competition that this is the eight they've got. So I'd be surprised if there's any changes to player management, but they might have to have a bit of a look at what's gone right, what's gone wrong. And I'll tell you where I think it's gone wrong is their bowling and their discipline and their ability to take wickets.
Edged and taken.
More juggles, heaps of juggles.
Yeah, great catch in the end from Voss. She smothered it to begin with. Take a look here on the replay. She just smothers it against the net and cleans it up as she falls to the ground. Well done.
Yeah, we've seen a few of them today. Alexandra Weeks doing one of a very similar style. -2 here at the Skins. So as I was giving the Scorpions a hard time about taking wickets, they begin to take a couple.
Well, yeah, look, again, we don't want to be into the post-mortem prematurely. The reality is the first two batting partnerships for the Mavericks did what they had to do. They were good enough. Still plenty of time in this game for the Scorpions, who we know are a classy outfit, to defend this total.
And as mentioned, the first two batting partnerships were very strong batting partnerships.
Two to come now in the 10th. Shot for two. Moves the score to 60.
And even if this batting partnership can come off with a total score of, say, 70 or something like that, which should be very, very achievable, providing that they don't start doing foolish things. There's still 2 overs remaining to be able to score 9 runs. You'd certainly back them in from here. So as long as they don't do anything too foolhardy,
And they can have their last batting partnership coming in, chasing a pretty small total.
Thanks for your company, folks, for the final round game in the Women's National Indoor Cricket League Final Series. We're live from Action Indoor Sports Toombul. Cameron Walter and Gary Lowe with you for this match and indeed the remaining games here today, as we continue our quest to crown the National Indoor Cricket League champions for 2019 in the men's and the women. A share of $46,000 in prize money on offer. These two sides have booked their chance to win a slice of that. The umpire Wayne Thomas gets us back underway. Rockliff the bowler. You're going to be a bit of a busy boy this afternoon, this evening and tomorrow, getting the final edition of the Yellow Ball podcast sorted, are you not, Mr. Lowe?
Yeah, I certainly will be. And we watched that janitorial work attempted by Brummer. Yeah, we'll be getting some, I'm hoping at least some pre-game interviews. The players don't know they're going to be a part of that yet, but I'll be wrestling them up earlier on this morning. But certainly the post-game interviews will be taking place. Had a very good discussion yesterday with the captain of the Eastern Shore Bombers from Tasmania. And that'll be on the podcast, a pretty comprehensive wrap-up of everything that's happened here this weekend. And we'll put the 2019 National Indoor Cricket League season up on the hoist, examine a few things, and wrap a little bow on it, mate, and it's done.
You get your weekends back.
I get my weekends back. A lot of legwork goes in to a 30 or a 45-minute episode. Even just getting the guests on each week and examining the games, and it sounds pretty polished, the podcast, when it comes out, but I assure you that on the pots and pans, pressing the buttons, podcast producer Justin Roulon, he's working very hard for the indoor cricket community.
One to come in the 11th over, and one to come in the Yellow Ball podcast. Oh, and she's through. Rockliff gets through and knocks over the castle. And sort of regular wickets, that's what the Scorpions need from this point, is to just keep the Mavericks at bay. And their aim's got to be to make sure that the last batting pair needs to score any sort of runs, but get to the last over of the game. That's the aim for both these sides, and to be in a position to win it. If any of them are too far in front with 2 or 3 overs to go, well, it's game over.
I mentioned that I thought that 70 should be extraordinarily achievable for this batting partnership. It's 7 off the last over. It's more runs than they've scored in the last 3 overs. Should they do it, that'll help.
Umpire just confirming that it hit the back net. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to see when you're some 30 metres away and your eyes are a good 10 feet in the air, if I can mix my measurement units. Sloppy fielding there. It gets through to the net. And they move back to 70 now with 3 balls remaining in the final over of this partnership.
Yeah, they've done well to get to 70.
And taken. A little juggle there from the skipper on the 3 line. But, we're going to start calling these the Springwood Riddlers.
Yeah.
They don't mind a bit of a juggle, but catch it when they need to. And again, just as the Mavericks were starting to look comfortable again, the Scorpions find a way to take a wicket. Back down to 65, 2 to come.
And all 3 of the last shots have been drives, so they're certainly looking that way. I'll be bringing those 3 fielders in against that pitch chance. No, again, as Cameron Walter very delicately coined, the Riddlers, the Jugglers. I don't mind it. So 3, I'd love to see them get to that 70.
Oh, what a shot that is. There's that 70 for you, Gary Lowe. A 3 to finish. And it's game on, ladies and gentlemen. They'll need 17 runs from the last 4 overs, will the Mavericks, in what has now become a grand final preview against the Scorpions. Thanks again for joining us right around Australia and the world. The 2019 National Indoor Cricket League Final Series is rapidly drawing to a conclusion. Coming up at 10 a.m. Eastern, it is the men's semi-finals. Both games will be available on the live stream. Just this one, this channel will have the commentary. So if you've got to choose a game, choose to join us. Otherwise, you can jump on the other game and sans commentary, Lowy.
What does that mean? Nah, we know what that means.
It'll be both games, the Vision coming to you from Action Indoor Sports Toombul, courtesy of our broadcast partner in Sportscast Australia. Mackenzie and Leroyd are at the crease for the Mavericks. 17 runs required, and there's one of them.
And we saw in previous games, Janine Mackenzie absolutely going to boomtown. She's a very dangerous player indeed when she gets motoring. Cameron Walter, looks like there's a bit of sun that's coming through the doors. Is that what's happening? They want to close the roller door?
That's a bit much, isn't it? The breeze, need the breeze in a hot tin shed.
Yeah, I reckon.
On a spring day.
They've got the sight screen, moved it along.
Yeah. Straight to the fielder. Good reaction in the end there from Leroyd. I think the call, not sure who made the call, but got back to a crease and dot ball. Chance at the keeper's end. Mackenzie's home. I think the closeness of this game just illustrates how tight a final's going to be, Lowy.
Yeah, it's going to be a mouth-watering affair this afternoon. Make no bones about it. That grand final taking place at 12 p.m. today, as mentioned a few times, but we don't want you to forget because we'd love to have your company. It's going to be a thriller. I mean, this one's coming right down to the wire.
Oh, that's a good piece of fielding there from Weeks. Didn't take it cleanly, but got down low very quickly to what was a very solid shot from Mackenzie. Keeps it to 1. Final ball, the 13th over. Ooh.
You reckon a bit of bat?
Yeah, not sure. There's certainly a noise. I don't know if it was bat on the ground or not. Replay might tell us. Oh, it certainly deviated. Yeah,
possibly. Just lamenting on the Hoppers Crossing exit from the NICL final series. They dropped a skin to the Casey Stars. The one skin that the Casey Stars won in the final series, and that's the one that could possibly have brought it all done. It looks like the Mavericks will go on to win this one.
But if they don't...
yeah, that skin. How good would that have been?
Oh, dear.
It looks like they're in the box seat to win it, but should they go on to lose it, they'll still go through because of the two skins. That gives them just enough competition points, but the Hoppers Crossing Hurricanes fatally wounded by the Stars for that skin.
Their brethren from Victoria might have just knocked them out of the finals.
You like the idea of that, mate, do you?
Well, it's a discussion with Laura Shaw during last night's game. She was quite big on the fact that they're here as a family.
Yeah.
And which is fantastic to see. I mean, they're the likes of Bryony Polkinghorne sort of mentoring some of those Stars players, so would be the definition of irony if that is indeed what keeps them out of the grand final. Oh, it's through. Oh, bit of yes, no cricket. And they get through in the end for 5 runs and a massive shot. And look, the Stars might be backing the Mavericks in here so that it does end up that it wasn't that skin that keeps the Hurricanes out of the final.
Yeah, well, they're about to progress past the Springwood Scorpions' original score, and they do now. 87, it plays 86.
So for me now, if I'm the Mavericks, this game becomes about how many runs can we win this by to
smash 'em.
Send that message to them that we're ready for the final.
Yeah, big time.
Left alone, and it's a leg side to finish the over. The score moves to 89 with 12 balls remaining in the final round game here, the National Indoor Cricket League final series live from Toombul.
Yeah, I don't care what kind of sport it is or what team you are, whether you think that you're the best team on planet Earth. If you go into the big final and you've lost the previous 2 games, that has to be playing on your mind. I know that Coach Bruce Harold is a confident chap and he is a very firm believer in his team, but I'm sure that he'd have some form of nervousness going on inside him. He'd must. You know, the greatest team on earth, you lose 2 coming into it.
Oh, little stumble. Just call that ladder up again for me, Lowy. I'm just curious to see whether or not the Mavericks can in fact go ahead of the Scorpions. So if they win this and they win this skin, they will. So the Mid-North Coast Mavericks could in fact finish first. We're sitting here talking about they need a couple of skins to make second. Well, they might go ahead of the Scorpions.
And wouldn't that just be a big slap in the face with a wet fish if that does come to be? And haven't they fallen at the second last hurdle, I'll say, in the race, the Scorpions, and they need to pick themselves up and get across that final one if they want to get the chocolates this afternoon.
Well, yeah, if the Mavericks win this last skin, they're going to finish first.
So would you say they come into the final as favourites then? Or who would you say would be
favourites?
Well,
I would say that. Not just because they finished first, but also because momentum. That losing the last 2 games heading into a grand final, we've talked about it a couple of times. That's very tough to then turn that around and put a win on the board. Don't get me wrong. If there's a team here that's capable of reversing fortunes, it's certainly the Scorpions, but it'd be very tough for them to do it. And, that gives them a sniff. It's scored back to 90. So the Mavericks will begin the last over in front on the total, but behind for the last skin, which will determine who finishes first.
Yeah, and look, it's this is probably looking. Well, I'm not going to say who's going to win because goodness knows who knows, particularly with Shelley Savage. But it looks as though if they go on to win this game, they're probably going to win it 3 skins to 1. So that's a pretty good win. That's and a pretty healthy score as well, upwards of possibly 100 if they get there. So it's been a very tidy performance from the Scorpions that have to possibly be fancied by most punters, you'd say, going into the final, which, if you ask me...
The Scorpions?
Yeah, the Scorpions. The Scorpions. Even though they've been touched up a bit here by the Mavericks. It's very interesting what's going on out here on court.
So as this match is reaching its conclusion, we'll remind you, from 10 a.m. Eastern, the men's semi-finals begin. So do stay with us throughout the day. Sent into the backcourt for 4, and that puts the result beyond doubt. And the skin as well. So what a turn-up this is. The Mavericks coming good at the right time, and they will finish on top of the table.
Yeah, go back net, I reckon, these last 3 deliveries. Really apply the blowtorch to the belly. And I think that's what we're going to see by Leroy here. Load up.
Chance not going to hand for weeks. And 1 ball remains now. Final ball of the round stages here at the National Indoor Cricket League. Well, will she have it re-bowled? I would.
Yeah, I would too.
Get your money's worth.
Good stuff. I love it. Just rubbing the salt into the wound. Do it.
Yep.
Be ruthless. Good job, Mavericks.
Happy with the dot ball, and there it is. The Mavericks have defeated the Scorpions 105-86, and in doing so have not only knocked the Hoppers Crossing Hurricanes out of the grand final, but have knocked the Scorpions out of first place. Gary Lowe, what a fantastic performance that has been from the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought it?
Excuse me, from the Mavericks.
Yeah, the Hurricanes. They're not so good. We're just waiting for the umpire to finish off his work up there so we can refresh the ladder here. And, it's a brilliant outcome for the Mavericks. They've done very well. I should be able to hit the refresh button here, and we do. And Cameron Walter, as you can see there on the live ladder, that the Mavericks now move into first place as you picked.
Where do you think this match was won and lost, mate?
Mate, I think that it's a combination that the Mavericks batted particularly well, but I think more so lost by the Scorpions with their lack of discipline in the field. They had a good run there in the third batting partnership where they took a couple of wickets, but if they're going to win this final later on this afternoon, they've got to be bowling much tighter lines than what they've done. Their discipline was poor, and there were phases during the game where they were quite sloppy in the field. So the batting, pretty good from the Scorpions. The other side with the fielding, needs a bit of improvement if they want to win the 10 grand later on today.
And let's talk briefly about this ladder. The top 3 teams here have finished on 6 games, 4 wins, 2 losses. Exact same wins, exact same losses, and yet 5 points separate first and third. 2 separates first and second. It all came down to skins, Lowy.
Yeah, and we talked about it right from ball 1 of this final series, how important skins were, because you can only afford to drop 1, possibly 2 games, and then you're rolling the dice, and it's either going to come up a lucky 7 or snake eyes. And for the Hoppers Hurricanes, unfortunately, they got the snake eyes, and the Mavericks and the Scorpions go through. But we knew the skins would be desperately, desperately important, and that's exactly how it's turned out.
Well, there you have it. Coming up next, folks, from 10 a.m, the men's semi-finals. 12 p.m. will be the women's grand final, and 2 p.m. the men's grand final. That's all Australian Eastern time, so do stay with us throughout the afternoon. Until then, Gary Lowe, thanks again for your company.
No worries, mate. And bring on 2 p.m. Can we just move the clock forward, mate? I want to play a final right now, but looking forward to the semis coming up. And, mate, thanks for having me in the combox.
Ladies and gentlemen, right around Australia and the world, thank you for your company. Until next time, I'm Cameron Walter. Thanks for watching.